Hello, and welcome back to the Product-Led Festival. A big thank you to our partners and speakers for helping us feature amazing content over the 3 days, looking at the core building blocks of product-led growth, from discovery and experimentation to metrics and measurement and everything in between. A quick reminder to join our Slack channel to interact with other attendees and join selected speakers for Q&A. You can find the link in the menu at the top of this page. Enjoy the festival.
Hello and welcome to this session. My name is Nishad Wasi. I'm a group product manager at Zipcar. And I'd love to share some of the learnings of being a platform product manager and basically some of my failures and what I've learned from that. So my product journey started at MathWorks. They are a maker of MATLAB and Simulink, which is basically a mathematical modeling and simulation platform. I was fortunate to be able to work with, I would say, cutting edge simulation technology, which helped Toyota, Ford, some of our US defense contractors kind of model and iterate on verification techniques, right? But think of it, I mean, that was product management from a B2B perspective. From there, I moved on to TripAdvisor, where I was responsible for building out the content optimization required for room and hotel content. So think about APIs, think about how do we spruce up content, how do we massage stuff, what makes more sense to show Nishad versus someone else, right? So we're really working on the B2C aspects of product management. And then, almost 3 years ago, I moved to Zipcar, where my team and I really help evolve and manage the core member experience platform. So this is, think about your basic e-commerce workflow of searching and reserving a car, a short-term rental, the billing payment systems, data systems, helping our marketing team manage their communications and pricing to different segments of a member. So I kind of look at MathWorks B2B, TripAdvisor's B2C, and Zipcar is a nice mixture of both of that, right? So it has the B2C and B2B aspects to it. And really, like, if I step back, what motivates me the most or what excites me about product is dealing with complex platforms, right? Always having that 2 steps ahead mentality and trying to think about what's coming next, not building for now, but building for the future. And today, really, I'm going to be talking about an ambitious project which we took on at Zipcar. It's been more than a couple of years now, but this project's really about redoing the entire Zipcar platform, and I'll get to that in a bit. But before that, what is Zipcar, right? So Zipcar basically is the largest car sharing network. It was built in 2000 by 2 MIT and Harvard alums based out of Boston. So it's hard to imagine. It's been 20 years since Zipcar came to market, right? And at a high level, what it is we allow you to subscribe. We have a member subscribe to a service, and after passing some validity checks and driver license checks, you can go search a car you want, which is in and around your urban neighborhood, book it, go drive it. It can be basically on a per hour basis or per day basis, and you get charged for what you drive. So you pay basically a subscription fee and a usage charge based on what you use. It's cars on demand without the hassle of owning it, without the hassle of needing to pay for fuel. Fuel is included, insurance is included, and of course parking, you need to return the car back to the same spot. We mostly exist, and our markets are largely in urban areas. And the point, really, the mission is, how do you reduce the footprint of car ownership? And through car sharing, you use a car when you need it, right? So a few years ago, Zipcar embarked on a lofty goal to completely overhaul the core technology, right? So think about everything that makes this platform work, be it the in-car brains of the unit, be it the experience, be it basically everything, right? And this is really trying to re-architecture 15 plus years of work, right? To give you an overview of what this platform looks like. This is a very simplified view, by the way, right? I kind of look at the core platform. This is again the end state of what a new platform, and I'll refer to this again and again in this presentation. This is the nuts and bolts of what a core service-oriented platform looks like, right? The end state. So at its core, there are a bunch of services. There's around 150 services odd, typical microservices infrastructure around it. There's this new data platform in AWS. And really what this core technology is supporting is a bunch of things. On the right-hand side, you can see there's experience, which our members see, right? So the join experience for a subscription, it's top of your funnel. Once you are a member, the booking experience, how do you search and reserve a car on demand? And then once you've booked the car, how do we help members figure or navigate their way through cars, through parking rules, ensure that they're being good, to the next person who might want to use the car, right? So that's all the experience part. And then on the left-hand side, it's really about internal tools and services. So there's this network of 10,000 cars globally. That needs to be managed on a day-to-day basis, right? And our fleet operators need tools and capabilities to be able to fix a flat tire, understand when a battery is running low, go jump it, move a car from one place to the other, or answer on the phone customer questions and concerns, right? There's also the aspect of how we communicate and interact with our members. So this is the marketing communications, pricing strategy, and of course the analytics, which goes with it, right? So segments and other parts. So in a nutshell and very simplified, service-oriented architecture is what the goal is to get to bunch of member-facing or user-facing experiences, and services and internal tooling needed to be supported, right? So this comes with its fair bit of challenges. Again, multi-year project, right? The first is on the business set, right? The easiest way to describe this is, think of a Boeing 747. It's got 4 engines, and the task really is you're mid-flight, you need to one by one change out these engines, right? While still maintaining the same path which your flight path was on, right? Under budget constraints, right? And so it is like you need to keep your business alive, but at the same time migrate over to this new technology set. And the real reason is because this is based on some of the old technology functions and monolithic architectures, it gets harder to innovate over time. And hence this microservices or service-oriented architecture is really crucial to survival, right? From a member experience perspective, right? The challenges in any replatforming effort are really, what is parity, right? There's so many features built into this product under the hood. But do we need all of them? Like, there is always this question of what is MVP and what's not, right? And then when you try to understand the feature, you dig in deeper and figure out all the intertwined business logic, always having to juggle both internal tools and services with external member experience. So it's a fun balancing act. And then of course on the technology side, that's the biggest hurdle is, there's always going to be a need to bridge two technology platforms, right? You cannot be like, one day I'm just going to turn the switch and go from technology A to B. There has to be a gradual transition. It's a multi-year effort. Always involved with build versus buy decisions, like what is the core technology we care about and need to own versus what can we buy services of, right? So again, replatforming effort, some pains involved, and here are some of the learnings over the years at Zipcar and before, right? So number one, build for product growth. What I mean really is what was challenging is figure out what are the most used features. What's the core, let's say 5 or 10 product assets, which you as a platform product manager need to ensure keep being nurtured, right? You cannot, and you absolutely want to continue investing in this. You do not want to let go of too much parity work over there, right? That's your meat and potatoes, right? Um, Once you figure that out, any re-platforming effort or any platform product, digital platform product, really, you are really designing for the future. When I'm saying future, it's funny, a couple of years ago, or maybe like 4 years ago, when I thought about future strategy, et cetera, as a product manager, I was thinking, oh, 3 to 5 years out, that's what the long-term vision looks like. These days, especially in the mobility environment, thinking 1 or 2 years out is asking for a lot, right? There's so many things that change. There's every week something news in the market or someone's going belly up. So thinking 1 to 2 years out is asking a lot. And really, as a platform PM, I am responsible for, and I found it super useful to push my other experienced product owners or product managers, for example, who own the booking experience or who own the join experience, right? Really pushing them on what do you need next, or what's your vision, right? And sometimes, to be honest, people are like, Nishad, I really don't care. I just need this feature done. At that point, you kind of have to, bite the bullet and be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to figure it out for you. And here's my best guess at it. Third thing, which has kind of worked for us well, is continuous ideation sessions, right? Typical design thinking still applies to a platform product. I think unconstrained first, get it down to measurable outcomes, and then try to figure out from those measurable outcomes, what can you pick, those two or three features which are parity plus, or which are new, or which will help towards your larger vision, and connect them back to the company's current OKRs, right? Because if you don't connect it back, it's going to be super hard to sell this idea and get investment for the same. Again, so a couple of examples, right? So last month we launched a specific product in a market, right? And this is targeted at a business segment. And it's interesting because my job was, this product set kind of exists on our current platform, and I need to PM it through and see it through on this new platform environment. But I kind of looked at that market and I'm like, I don't understand why our other markets are not selling this, right? There's a business opportunity here. So I'd say more than 50% of my time was spent on trying to understand what some of the future needs might be, or why we've not been able to sell to the specific other market set. And while migrating, we've set us up such that, we've got enough of an MVP, we've got more than what was asked for, but enough for us to go sell into, right? So that's an example of when I'm looking in the future, I'm looking maybe 6 months down the line at being able to sell something, or maybe even 2 months down the line, sell something which didn't exist, right? Another example could be when you look at a self-service business, like everything for Zipcar should ideally be handled by the app, right? You join, you instantly get access, you can search and reserve within that, go up to a car, hit the unlock literally on your phone, and Bluetooth unlocks a car, right? Now, there are times where a customer calls us, a member calls us, and the near-term goal might be, hey, let's try to have call avoidance strategies. How do we have chatbots? How do we have help center articles or product features to ensure a member can self-serve? That's what I would call immediate need, right? Or parity need for a platform or re-platforming effort. But think ahead, like forcing the topic of, maybe there is a way to leverage this self-service in a way which can help distribute my fleet of these 10,000 cars-ish more efficiently, right? We know there's a lot of cost in fleet management, right? And it's costly to move a car from one place to another, especially in an urban environment. And so how can we leverage these self-service techniques to better help us from a business perspective, or solve some other vehicle management pain? And so that's really about building for product growth, forcing the conversation, even if folks don't want to have it, making some educated guesses along the way, and you know, really trying to ensure that you don't change course every month or so, right? Um, the second thing I would say is data models, right? So I'm a big fan of at least one of the things which TripAdvisor really is ingrained in my head is if it's not worth measuring, it's not worth shipping, right? And so part of that kind of boils down to once you figure out what your core product assets are, right? You really need a strong base or strong data models which can help from a core platform perspective, which can help so many different things. For example, we've built our core data models in Looker or our AWS data marts, right? And we could have, instead of doing this, we could have just migrated all data which existed on Oracle on premise into AWS and be done with it and continue using data as a second class citizen who is only used for reporting or analytics post fact, right? But instead, there was an opportunity to think, hey, what's really important, right? We need a core member model to understand member interaction with our product and how we're communicating with members. And then we need a core vehicle model to figure out what are the different touch points with the vehicle, right? If we get these two right and the interaction between it right, there are so many uses of this rich data set within our tools itself, right? So an example could be as we migrate stuff over. I mean, we've got, let's say, a snapshot in time of what a member's interaction with us looks like. How many times has a member called us? What that person's driving history looks like. Is this person paying their parking tickets on time, etc. Right? And this is available to our agents who are on call supporting this member calling us. Right? Now, we can again just reinvent, be like, okay, great, we can have that data available to you. But having these core data models in place, let us think about, hey, can we add more value? We already calculate and know and have a hardened set of lifetime value models, RFM, which is recency frequency models, right? Recency frequency monitoring models. And can we use those insights to power how we interact with our customers, whether they're on call, the kind of service they get, etc. Right? So there's absolutely getting our data model right was the key to having and leveraging data, be it in a real-time or non-real-time fashion, back in different product experiences. Another key thing I'd like to highlight is one of the things we learned over time was it's really essential when you're doing any replatforming or having a core analytics group to have shared goals across data engineering, product, data science, and data analytics, right? Because everyone seems to want different things. And it's really the product manager. I think the data PM I hired was excellent and managed to get this act together. Right? The product manager is really the glue who puts together the roadmap, sets OKRs, gets teams to agree to it, to really think holistically, right? Really crucial for us to succeed. Another learning is what I call, metrics, right? This is back to my data matters a lot. Initially, when we completed a couple of phases and had a stable data platform, I think my key was, okay, how do we optimize this, right? If this was a search and reserve experience, I know, standard metrics, e-commerce metrics apply, right? What's your session conversion? What's your search conversion? Click-through rates, etc. But how do you track a platform? How do you track a platform outside of just technical terms like number of tests which pass or failures which we're seeing in production, right? And how do you motivate a team around it? So I kid you not, I think it took some amount of inertia to get behind and get people excited about this, because this is something new, right? At least for me, it was something new, right? We came up with what we call this data platform metrics, right? And this was really crucial. I'll tell you in a bit, but there's four things, four axes in which you can think. You can think about quality. So say search is, your search conversion is really important. It's an e-commerce measure for you. Is there anything low level in the search data which goes missing, which is, missing a specific transaction type, which impacts not only my conversion and revenue, but may impact how I distribute my fleet based on demand predictions, right? So that's kind of crucial to get the quality right. So there are measures which we started using, example being the searches and completeness of search data. Another interesting one was data availability over the past 30 days or X days, right? This is interesting because we kind of tracked how our analysts were using, and other analytics PMs, business analysts were using our data sets. And it was essential to get stuff in people's hands by 9 a.m., right? And so that was our goal, that let's get 95% of the time on any day. Not 90, it was 98% of the times our data should be available by 9 a.m. every day, right? And it's interesting because when we started this off, we were closer to 75%, right? But just the ability to track this stuff makes a big difference. It's not great. I would almost recommend tracking things like mean time to recover over tracking failures, right? Over time. Like the negative connotation is failures over time. Mean time to recover is how fast do you recover from a failure or a production issue. The third axis is usage, right? What's important is how many users are using it, what times of the day, what does query performance look like? Because now I can optimize my production snaps, etc., on the data platform based on usage trends within the day, right? Again, we also have offices in the UK, so we need to manage not only North American time. So anyway, short, summary is there's definitely some inertia. A lot of it is to do with not really sure what metric to measure. And I think we've learned through iterations, of course, and through failing a multiple number of times, that this has been a great lens for us to look at, and there's absolutely value for PMs to be engaged in these metrics as well. I'd say the last one I have is beware of the MVP light trap, right? So what do I mean by this, right? I think any PM runs into this on a daily basis, right? If I've got 10 features I need to get out the door, let's say in 2 weeks, I'm making this up, right? There is no way that you're making all 10 features happen. I mean, I'll take that back. Maybe that's a strong statement. Most of the times I've seen it's been, okay, which features will slip? What's really MVP, what's not? And I think there's no getting away from that. However, as a platform, right? If I'm going through a platform migration, we had a bunch of milestones to go hit, right? And as a platform PM, I think it's a really slippery slope. If you start by saying that, 90% of my features in milestone 1 are covered, great. The other 10 will go out the door and will slip into milestone 2. Milestone 2 ends up having more stuff which will slip into milestone 3. And by the time, before you know it, 6 or 8 months down the line, you might end up with a product which is 60% complete, which might be a degraded product experience to your end users. And it's going to be really hard, at least it was hard for me, to justify reinvestment, because your leadership is like, hey, we just gave you all that money to go recreate this platform. Why are you asking for more money to fix a platform which is not even 6 months old, right? And so as platform PMs, and what I really encourage my team to do is hold the course on what you could consider as your core product set, right? So if you back to my core assets piece, if you understand what that is, try to estimate cost of delay whenever something's not going to fit or ship within your core asset piece. Think about opportunity cost, right? I think those two have been my best friends from a metrics perspective. And always evaluate features based on like cost of delay or similar metrics, right? Another one is estimating cost of workarounds, right? This goes without saying, but for a platform product or for a platform PM, this gets more and more important over time, because adding 2 minutes to a customer support call, for example, for one feature is okay, but if you start doing that for 20 different features, the number of minutes adds up, and each extra minute really is costing you more from not only a member experience perspective, but the actual cost of the call itself. So you do not want to be in this place of a death by 1,000 cuts, right? Especially when that's what you're trying to solve with a replatforming effort. Another thing which we've tried to do and do a decent job of is linking new, net promoter scores or customer experience measures back to revenue or future booking estimated revenue or probability to book. So that's been another measure we use. Again, I highly encourage, think about estimating. It's okay to take it with a pinch of salt, but having those in place will help you protect your core assets. The other, of course, goes without saying, is build in buffer zones. From time to time, you need to do a lot of catch up on the product side, especially for a platform. I'd say, in closing, a few other gotchas which I have run into over time. Folks ask me, what's the role of a product manager versus delivery manager versus architect, right? And I think the 1 or 2 hours it really takes to clarify these roles, especially I would say in smaller companies, it doesn't take that long. To give you an idea, Zipcar is around 150-ish core product engineering, marketing, as a unit. And so it's pretty easy. It was pretty easy to come up with this, but this is lessons learned. Really, the PM is accountable to the key result. In my view, architect's the person who makes the product vision real, and your delivery manager is really escalating risks, managing timelines, and trying to get together with stakeholders, right? So it's been super useful to do that, for me at least. Litmus test, I'd say, how do you know you've protected your core assets enough, right? I think one way to gauge this is if you've got a new product offering or a brand new segment you're going after, and you can actually launch this with your platform in, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks, right? Without really impacting your core assets, be it your search data or be it, from my perspective, a member or vehicle model. If I can do that, I basically know we've invested in the right place. And as a platform PM, I actually think that's a success. And last but not least, I get this a lot from my team is, are we just like too broad? Are we just being jack of all trades? And it's actually quite the opposite. In my opinion, we are consultants, right? If we are doing our role well, we've gone broad enough. We filled in the gaps when other experienced PMs weren't able to. And really, this sets you up to succeed from a vision perspective, right? You are the person people will likely come to first when they've got an idea and try to validate and vet, hey, Nishad, does this work? Like, what if we do it this way instead? Could it be your response, right? And so I think it's a great place to be, and you can influence a lot. All right, well, that's all I had. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to the discussion, feedback, and comments. Thank you.